Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer number 1515-633. This is a louver door double acting spring hinge, considered light duty, steel base and a satin brass finish. So Bommer's 1515 series is going to be for specifically 1.1 to 1.5 thick doors. So if you've got something in that range, so far so good. This would be a hinge for you. Maximum door width is about 18 inch, and they're going to be looking at about, typical cafe doors, 42 inch, something in that range. However, most importantly, if you're using a pair of these, and it's typical that you would be, 18 pounds would be the expected weight for this to handle. So the Bommer 1515 is a double acting spring hinge. What you have here on the back is the plate that gets mounted to the jamb, this plate here. Your door obviously sits into this pocket here. Okay, so as the door is pushed towards you as the viewer, it would swing out this way. Well, there anyway. As you push it towards me, this leaf, which is mortised or surface mounted to the edge of the door, swings out this way. So in a situation where the door is going to double act, it will literally behave, like I had it before, like this, like this. Okay. There's a link below this video to the template, which shows everything important dimensionally about the item, so I won't beleaguer any of that here. There's also a link to the instructions. But let's go back to the template first. The template on the right-hand side, that's the real important stuff that you're going to need to contend with first when you're dealing with double-acting spring hinges like this from Bommer. So you see that there's a table there, and it looks a little maybe intimidating, but it's not at all. So in that table, you've got your 1514 H, 1515, and then the H. The H are the hold open models. The 1515 is for thinner. 1514 is for thinner doors, so ignore that. 1.1, 1.5. So you see from above in the upper right-hand corner what your tolerances are required to be when using this hinge. Really only given two scenarios. Whether you are mortising this leaf to the edge of the door, or you're surface mounting it. You can do it either way, and the data is there for both of those scenarios. Okay, so what it's showing here is a single door, and that's certainly common, but as are pairs of doors as well. So if you are dealing with a 1515, a single door, and you're going to know either your inside frame opening, that'll be fixed, or you'll know your net door width. One of those has to be variable to account for the hinge. So let's assume you've got a 36-inch finished cased opening. Perfect. Now, you're going to do the scenario where you are going to mortise this leaf to the edge of the door, and you can see from the table that on the hinge side of the door, you're going to allow a 1/16 of an inch. That's the margin that you're going to need, because that's really all the space that this flange takes up. Okay. You also have to have the B clearance as well, which is going to be dependent on whether or not it's a square edge door or a radiused or a round edge door. So let's say it's a square edge door that you've mortised. You've got a total here of about 5/16, not about, it's 5/16 of an inch. So 36 inch minus 5/16, you know that you're going to be at 35 and 11/16 for your net door width. Now, using that logic, you can apply it for non-mortise or for pairs of doors as well. You're going to want to, if you're using a pair of doors and you've got them both square edge, a 1/2 inch would be a bit excessive, but you're going to want to leave it real close to about 7/16 because those doors can hit like this. If you're doing a radius door edge, really about maybe 3/16 of an inch, because there might be a little geometry happening. The door might ever so slightly leave this plane here as it's going through its arc. However, these doors are very light to begin with, so there'll be very little of that. If you find that you have any conflict when your doors are passing each other, you'll have to accommodate for that. Now, round edge doors. That's basically a radius. Or think of the top row of tile in your bathroom. That's a bowl nose. Well, if you do a double bowl nose, it's a radius. That's what they're calling round edge door. I've rounded over doors times beyond count. And I have done it so much that I would have a tool just set up specifically dedicated for doing that. And it really just involves like a 1.5-horse router, maybe a little bit bigger, with a large round over bit, with the depth set specifically so that you get the proper radius on the door, assuming you're doing it on both sides. So I get my door down on my work area, clamp it down, get my router, and I would run that down, the end of the door. So the round over bit that you have will be directly related to the door thickness. Okay, you don't want to have too great of a radius because it will look odd, or too shallow of a radius, and then your doors won't operate correctly. So that's all related. If you have a 1 3/4 door, not that you would with this, your radius is got your round over bit's going to be giant. It'd be a huge bit. And you really got to do a lot of those before you justify buying all that tooling. Plus, a real large round over bit is not going to fit into a router base. You'll have to modify that. So if you're doing one twosie kind of thing, maybe leave it square edge, 1/4 inch margin on the lock side. There's no lock, but and go from there. Or just square them both off. Square edge, non-mortise, you're at 35.5 inch, given that same scenario. If you have any questions about how to go about prepping that stuff, please feel free to reach out to me. It's not painful for me to talk about it, as you might tell. Now, available in different finishes. If I've not said that, this is, of course, the 633 satin brass. Okay, screws are included. You're going to get all wood screws. You're also going to get, now moving on to the installation instructions. Right-hand side of that document, if you want to fire that up now, is going to pertain to your 1515, your non-hold open versions. Parts, you're going to get a tension rod, piece of steel. You're going to get a couple of tension pins. We're going to go over that next. Those are the little silver things that are in the bag. Now, when the tension collar, after you get everything mortised, cut, drilled, whatever you're doing, with the tension collar up, you're going to insert that and rotate it clockwise. And as you do that, you can see that you reveal new additional holes. It's into one of those new additional holes that you insert a tension pin. And then, of course, you're going to do the same on the other barrel. That's how you set tension on the spring. Okay? It's that simple, is the bottom line. Bommer recommends about, I believe it's 3 notches, but for these, I think they go a little bit more. I'd say it'd be about 3 notches. Yes, sir. Or whomever. Step 1, tension. Step 2, mortise your door. Step 3, fasten it to the edge of the door. Step 4, attach it all to the frame. These will be light doors, so you'll probably need someone to help you, but not because of the weight, just to keep it straight, plumb, plumb in the frame. That's really important. Step 5 is setting the tension, as we just went over. Yeah, 3rd hole of the tension collar, as it says there. Otherwise, the spring will distort, and you're going to open yourself up to damage. Now, it's not called out here, and I'm not positive if it applies to the 1515. I know it does to their 3029 series. What they want is tension collars up on one door if it's a pair, and then tension collars down on the other door, and then rotated counterclockwise in this sort of orientation. Very common hinge, cafe doors. You're going to see them in retail spaces, restaurants, homes. You'll see them everywhere. And a really nice quality product. The final thing I'd like to point out to you would be the Bommer logo. It says Made in USA, a fact that Bommer is quite proud of, as am I to be a distributor for them. So, if you have any questions on the Bommer number 1515, 633 double acting spring hinge, or any other Bommer product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.